guys, it's Bree. Welcome back to my channel. Y'all, George Mason is in some mess. I tell you, man, throughout this whole pandemic, and this could be a whole nother video about how I'm pulling up like the stuff, but man, like George Mason has been handling this pandemic like in a very garbage type of way. Like, it is just, you know, like I don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't understand. Like, and you would think that George Mason would look at what other colleges are doing, but honestly there are a lot of colleges too that just are doing messed up stuff. Like when VCU they took out people's stuff out their dorms without notifying them, and they used their dorms as like a space for COVID, like people who had COVID or whatever, and just had their stuff out on the street. Like, these colleges just don't be caring. And it's like, we pay y'all way too much money for y'all to be slacking so much with this whole situation. So George Mason, they are doing hybrid. They're doing a hybrid semester. So basically what that means is that they're going to have some classes that are in person and some classes that are online. Most classes are going to be online. The only classes that are going to be in person, from my understanding, are going to be like labs, even though I've heard a lot of labs are also going to be online. So it's bare minimum classes that are going to be on campus, but they're still allowing on-campus students to live on campus, and they allow people who already had a housing assignment to stay on campus. I've opted out. I did want to stay on campus, even though I was a little bit scared to. But, you know, I had to cancel my housing, so I won't be living on campus, unfortunately. And I had some stuff that was supposed to go on this semester too, so I don't know. I'll figure it out. But anyway, so if you're living on campus, you are required to get tested for coronavirus, which makes sense. You know, that makes perfect sense to get tested, because you don't want people coming to the campus with the virus. That's going to defeat the whole purpose. That's going to mess up like the whole like it being safe, right? So that makes perfect sense. So because they're requiring that students stay on campus, they're making people get tested, which makes sense. And they are, I believe they're giving like free testing to students through this company called, is it Calico? Where is it? Yes, through this company called Calico. George Mason has a partnership with this company, and they are going to be the ones administering these tests. I believe the test kits are being sent through the mail. You do your little swab or whatever, and you send it back, and then they get the results back and send it to George Mason. So all that sounds cool on the surface, right? And I think it is a good thing that George Mason is doing their part in making sure that students can get tested for free, just to alleviate that burden. Because you can't, I feel like if you're going to tell someone they have to do something, you also have to contribute a little bit to them actually being able to do it. So the concept doesn't sound bad, right? But then people started doing some digging, as you always should. You should always look into anything that you aren't familiar with. So shout out to Kevin Cook. I'm in the George Mason Facebook group, and I'm going to read some of the stuff that he has researched about this company. So I'm pretty much getting like almost all my information from him. So from this post, and this is on Facebook, he found that the domain for the Calico website is only 40 days old. So that's red flag number one. This company is brand new. Brand new. And when you're messing with science and you're messing with like testing and people's like DNA and stuff. You don't want to just give your stuff to anybody. You know what I mean? So that alone is a red flag. Then it says their website, which is Calico, not Calico.com, Calico.net. Oh God, sorry, these lashes, man. Calico. Looks like it was made on Squarespace in 30 minutes. There are grammar errors, and it looks like a template more than anything. Which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, Kylie Jenner's makeup stuff is on Shopify, and I think the crayon case is on Shopify. And Shopify, Squarespace, Weebly, all of those like website templates, websites, I don't think there's anything wrong with using them. I think they're very beneficial, and like I said, a lot of companies use them, so I don't see anything wrong with the fact that they're using Squarespace. I use Squarespace. I don't think that there's anything necessarily wrong with that part. Let's see. I'm only gonna read what I feel like is like the most interesting. Okay, so he said that when he reverse searched some of the other pictures on their website, the results led them to the 404 errors and dead websites. So basically their pictures that they had, I guess, I don't know, like there's just so many like shady stuff going on with the website alone. And then he said the CEO, who was John Spivey, hope I'm saying that right. Let's see. He said that there's a LinkedIn page for Calico and it's empty, and there's only 2 employees listed with very little information. That's definitely not good. If anything, if you're an established business, you should definitely have like an established page or something that people can go to, I feel. Let's see. Okay, so he said that he called the phone number provided on their LinkedIn and was greeted by a like the automated voice thing, and that it was like, oh, press 1 to whatever, and he did that, but it didn't go any further than that. So they never were able to get into contact with anybody at Calico. Let's see, what else. He said that VCU is also using Calico, and people have been waiting for weeks for their test to arrive. Okay, so let's see. Okay, and then at the end he says that Calico is a 4-week-old startup company that is really suspicious and maybe overly ambitious. So people aren't really sure what's going on with Calico. People don't know if it's a scam or if it's just a hopeful entrepreneur that just got his, like he took on too much that he could handle and is coming off bad on the company's end. Now, as much as I want to shade Calico in this, either way, I feel like Calico was winning, because I'm sure Mason paid them a pretty penny to partner with them and to get these tests out. And I think that you have to kind of blame George Mason in this. I mean, at the end of the day, whether it's a scam or whether it's an entrepreneur that's over his head, it's clear as day that Mason either didn't do enough research and they were in such a rush and a hurry to find somebody, they just chose anybody that they wanted to, or they and they cut corners too by picking somebody that was because there's no way they would have there's no way. I don't think, even though I just said they probably paid a pretty penny, I think that this had to have been some type of I think they went the cheap route. I think they picked this new company that probably wouldn't cost as much and thought could get the job done. And I just think that it's poor planning on Mason's part. And I think that Mason couldn't have cared enough for them to think that, like, clearly they didn't do their due diligence. Like, they had to have just maybe gone to the homepage, saw that they do testing, and they're like, oh, cool, let's go with them, without diving deeper into it. And I think that that is a huge problem, especially when you're dealing with COVID testing. Like, again, if this company isn't as reputable as they think, and now that actually, hold on, let me go ahead and read. So George Mason came out and addressed this, which they don't actually, I feel like they don't ever really address anything from like the main George Mason page. Usually when stuff happens, it'll be like that department who handles it. This is from the university themselves. So this was on Twitter, and George Mason said, regarding Calico Health and Technology, George Mason University is aware of the concerns raised by students about Calico, which was hired to process at-home testing kits for residential students. The university is working with Calico to make sure that all students receive their testing kits in time for the start of movement. We know that more than 1,500 Mason students have already registered and will be receiving their test kits in the next few days. And some people have had issues with registration. A lot of people had to register on their phones because it wouldn't work on the computer. That's a whole bunch of stuff. And lastly, we also know that some students had technical issues, which the company has said it is addressing. If you have any further issues, please contact testhelp@gmu.edu. So they are in contact with Calico, even though Calico isn't responding to students, which I find to be odd. And so it sounds like to me they're still going to work with Calico, because I feel like if they were to stop, that would be them admitting that they picked the wrong company. So I think they're trying to hold on to whatever they can and trying to make sure that Calico does its part. But like I said, like, what if Calico tries to rush these tests out because George Mason is now breathing down their necks? Like, hey, like y'all said, y'all could get these test results back before the start of the semester. What if Calico you know, starts putting out inaccurate tests? You know, what if they start giving out a bunch of negative COVID tests when really they're positive, or they haven't worked on them enough to see if, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, this isn't a good situation, and it's so wild to me to see the desperation of being back on campus kind of cloud people's judgment. Most people understand that this is weird and this doesn't seem okay, and that it's much safer and better to just get it done on your own with a company or a clinic that you trust, and most people can get it done on their insurance for free. Most people are going the safe route, but I'm literally seeing people, even after all this, still jumping to still work with Calico, still get their tests from them, talking about how they're having issues getting the kit but still going through with them. I'm like, y'all, come on. Like, I don't want to say common sense, but it's like, who would, like, after all this is coming out, it's not coming out for no reason. And the fact that George Mason said something, like, George Mason didn't say that our concerns weren't valid. They didn't say, ooh, I'm sorry, my ring light just turned off and I got startled. They didn't say, like, you know, oh, students are, you know, wrong and Calico is a legit company, all the information out there is false. They didn't deny anything that's been out there. All they said was that they were in communication with them, and, you know, they're trying to get stuff figured out. So I say all that to say, be smart about this. Clearly this is not, and even if they are genuine, they clearly don't have all their stuff together. And again, when it comes to all this like COVID testing and stuff like that, you don't want to play around with that. And to me, this makes it even more unsafe to go back on campus, because like I said, they could mess up tests, or they could you know, some VCU students are still waiting on their tests. What if the same thing happens with George Mason students? George Mason can't guarantee that these tests are going to come back in a timely manner. So what if you do this whole stuff through Calico, and then Calico doesn't get you your results back before you have to go back on campus? Then you're gonna have to go to another clinic anyway and get tested there. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I would just avoid Calico altogether, because this just seems like a really messy situation. But let me know your guys' thoughts. Let me know if y'all signed up to work for Calico and get your test from them. And make sure you guys give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.